made that accusation in that email that Meghan was bullying staff. Buckingham Palace did nothing because they didn't know what to do.
I mean, clearly she had problems with the staff. I mean, you blew the lid off this story a few years back about the bullying allegations and things like that. But obviously, Jason went to HR in 2018. Why did it take so long for this to become public? And is this something that they wanted to keep under wraps for quite some time?
I think it remained private for such a long time, partly because of the loyalty of staff.
Right.
It's for all that Harry says about leaks and planting of stories. Actually, it's a very tight institution, and several people go there from politics. And one of them said, after a while, they were absolutely astonished at the fact that stories didn't leak. They said, in the world of politics, this would have been out in a week.
Right.
And it is amazing. But one of the things that Meghan's people said when I got that story, that it was a deliberate smear by Buckingham Palace. Well, no, it wasn't, because Buckingham Palace did not emerge well from this. Because they did nothing. When Jason Knauf made that accusation in that email that Meghan was bullying staff, Buckingham Palace did nothing because they didn't know what to do.
Right.
They hadn't had this situation before where a member of the royal family, it's one thing if staff bully other staff. You got mechanisms in HR how to deal with that. But if it's a royal doing it, they just didn't know what to do, and they were stuck like a rabbit in the headlights.
Right.
So their inaction did not reflect very well on them at all, and that's one of the reasons why it didn't come out, because frankly, it was in very few people's interest for it to come out, except perhaps the victims of the bullying who, finally thought, we want our story heard.
Right. And do you feel like they still stick by their story after all these years later? And knowing what you know, would you categorize Meghan as a bully, or was it just the cultural differences?
They definitely still stick by their story, without a doubt. They're very angry, and they're very angry at some of the things that Harry says in his book.
Right.
And I can't judge whether she was a bully. I wasn't in the room, but I do definitely think it was more than just cultural differences. I think she was, at the very least, tricky boss. And if this had been an ordinary company, I don't know what that palace report. There was a palace report into all of this. They buried it. We never knew what they said. But I suspect that at the very least, if she'd been as a middle manager, been accused of things, at the very least, I think she'd been sent on a course afterwards.
Right. Yes. I mean, the palace never did reveal the findings of the investigation into the bullying claims. Do you know or do you feel like this will ever be made public? And what have sources told you about it, or do you think they want to keep it under wraps to kind of keep somewhat peace between Harry and Meghan?
I think they definitely want to keep it under wraps in order to keep the peace, because I suspect whether she's completely, as we're found guilty of bullying, I don't know, but I think there's at the very least some criticism of Meghan's behaviour. I'm guessing, but that's what I would have thought. And if this comes out, it would just prompt another outburst from Harry and Meghan, and they just don't want to prompt. They don't want to provoke that.
For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below, and visit usmagazine.com.